Welcome, new video today, and I want to talk about a subject that people ask me a lot: self-leveling epoxy or roller applied. Which one of the two should we apply? What are the differences between the two types? In this video, I am going to explain to you the differences. On this cover page, we can see two floors. The one on the left is a roller applied floor, and the one on the right is a self-leveling floor. So let's move on now. And what we'll do is we will have a look at the few pictures. Before I show you some pictures of real projects, let me just tell you that in this presentation I'm going to talk about the appearance, how these two floors differ, application, how do we apply self-leveling floors, how do we apply roller applied floors, consumption, which one of the two solutions consumes more product, and most importantly, what's their purpose? Why should we choose one over the other? So let's go get to it. I'm going to show you some pictures now. These are all projects that I've completed with my crew. I will not tell you which floor everyone is. I'm just going to show you 5 pictures, and at the end I'm going to give you the answers. So have a look at this picture. Is it self-leveling or roller applied? What about this one? What about this one? And this one? And finally, this floor. Alright, the answers are coming up, but before I give you the answers, please take a moment and hit the subscribe button. It definitely helps me grow my channel and keep on bringing out good videos. It's very important. Thank you very much. Right, the first one is a self-leveling floor. It's a warehouse for food distribution. What you can't really tell here, but what the main purpose here is, you can see the floor has a smooth texture. It doesn't have like a rough orange peel texture. This was applied with a trowel. It's a self-leveling floor. The second one here, if you pay close attention, especially around where the lights are, you can see this is a textured floor. The floor is doesn't have a completely smooth texture. It's been applied with a roller, and that's why you have this slightly sort of like orange peely texture to it. The third one, this one's quite easy because you can see the reflection. This is a self-leveling floor. It's from a pharmaceutical lab. You can see like how perfect the reflection is from that thing in the corner. So this is a self-leveling floor. This one is roller applied, and again, if you're not sure about it, have a look where the lights hit the floor. You can see this is a textured floor. It's not like a self-leveling floor. It's textured. And finally, the last one is a self-leveling floor. It's a pastry factory, so they make pastries here, and especially in food production, you'll find that self-leveling is preferred for various reasons that I will sort of explain later. But yeah, this is self-leveling. So now we looked at a few pictures. Let's look at the application. How do these two types of floors differ when we apply them? Alright, roller applied, it's fairly obvious you use a roller to apply it. In some cases, you can also use a squeegee. So you use a squeegee to sort of spread the product out, and then you apply with a roller. So in these cases, we're using rollers to apply the floor. And because you are using a roller, this is one of the reasons why you're getting this sort of orange peel texture. You're not getting a super smooth texture, because with epoxies, you need to apply a bigger amount of product. And I will be explaining this further down. You need to apply more product to get the smooth self-leveling texture. This is more of a roller applied texture. And this is, here we have 2 pictures of my team applying self-leveling coats. So the one on the left with the sort of the gray, the whitish floor, you see one person's in the background is wearing spiked shoes, and he's using a spiked roller to break bubbles. The guy up front, he is spreading out the product with a trowel. In the other picture, we're seeing someone again applying the green floor. He's poured a bucket of floor coating on the floor, and he's spreading it out evenly. So self-leveling, you kind of pour the floor down. You don't just kind of use a roller. You pour the floor and you spread it out to get the required thickness. Now, just to let you know that in general, roller applied epoxy is easier for inexperienced applicators. So if you don't have any experience with epoxies and DIY epoxies, they tend to be roller applied. Self-leveling is quite difficult. I mean, you need spiked rollers, you need trowels, you need spiked shoes to inspect the area. The quantities involved are much bigger, so the risk of something going wrong is also much bigger. And that's something contractors need to keep in mind when they are applying self-leveling floors, that you are dealing with a much higher cost. So you also need to have a kind of more professional team working with you, making sure nothing goes wrong. Because if something does go wrong, the cost of fixing it or replacing it is quite big. It's quite significant. So that's an important difference between roller applied and self-leveling. Self-leveling it produces a nicer result, but it's also more expensive. So I already talked a bit about product consumption and cost. Let me go into more detail now about this area, which is quite important. And it's important because sometimes when I quote a self-leveling floor and a roller applied floor, I find it interesting how many customers are surprised by the difference in price. So when we apply a roller applied floor, the consumption for one coat is about 250 grams to 300 grams per square meter. Now, I know some of you may not be using the metric system, but I'm using the metric system because 90% of the world uses it. So I'm just going to use metrics here. But if you apply 300 grams per square meter, you get about 200 micron thickness of coating. And that's for one roller applied floor. But usually you want to be applying at least 2 coats with a roller applied floor, maybe even 3 coats. Now, self-leveling, you need to get a minimum of 2 millimeters thickness just to get a decent looking surface, so it doesn't have like weird lines or anything. So notice here I said 200 microns and 2 millimeters. You're already talking about a massive difference in thickness. Right? So when you apply a self-leveling floor, like this guy here is pouring the bucket on the floor, we're talking at least 2 kilos per square meter, plus you also want to mix in extra quartz sand to get the 2 millimeter thickness. And I'm going to post a video on how to apply self-leveling floors for you to understand this, because it might sound a bit complicated here. But you do need to understand this is quite difficult. It's not so easy. The quantities involved are much, much bigger. And that means that the corresponding cost is going to be many times higher. Just to give an example, if we're talking on the one end, applying 2 coats at 250 grams, so you reach 500 grams, and the second example of 2 kilos, you're basically talking 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 times as much epoxy if you are going to apply self-leveling. And that tends to surprise customers who are not familiar with the differences, not realizing why self-leveling is so much more expensive. Alright, and now I want to go into functionality. So we talked about how these floors differ, we talked about how we apply them and how much the consumption is, but what about why do we prefer one or the other? Now, self-leveling, it's because you can apply a much bigger thickness, the long-term durability is better. It is easier to clean because you do have a smoother surface, you don't have that textured surface. It is suitable for food and pharmaceutical production where the regulations concerning hygiene and bacteria growth is very, very strict, and they need to be really easily cleanable, and you don't want any sort of marks on the floor, and that's why self-leveling is better. And most importantly, self-leveling is perceived, and in my opinion, is a higher quality solution. It's a nicer floor. Self-leveling also helps you fill up, even out even slightly uneven surfaces. You can make it look better with self-leveling. Now, roller applied is a lower cost solution, but however, it does have one advantage, and that is, as you can see in this picture again with the texture, it is suitable for anti-slip, and you can do various types of floors, roller applied floors with anti-slip, whether you just use a roller or you can even mix in quartz sand, and I'm going to post a video if you want to learn more about using quartz and roller applied floors. But this is how roller applied. This is the one advantage I'd say roller applied floors do have over self-leveling. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I also have written an article, and I'm going to post a link below, so please click on the article and you can learn more, get more information, and get more resources. And we also do have an online course for epoxy, and it's not very expensive. We keep a deliberate low price so more and more people can learn, and it will really cost you about the pack of buying one big pack of epoxy. So definitely check out our online course below. and our article. And please, if you enjoyed this presentation, take a moment, like, share, comment. It helps us spread the word. And have a look at these additional videos that I've posted for you. I'm sure you'll get some really useful information out of them. Thank you very much for watching.